Okay, so now let's get cracking. Now, what are the tools related to PR? So let's first dissect the very key one that all PR practitioners do without fail, the news release. Now, what is a news release? A news release is essentially a 1 to 2 pager document containing key information that you would want to share with journalists as well as stakeholders, and stakeholders here include members of the public. Okay? And these are key information regarding a product. It can be a company, it can be an individual in your organization, it can be about operating procedures, and it can also be a clarification of some sorts, which brings us to what a news release is used for. Why send a news release in the first place? Now, if you're familiar with the way journalism works and how reporters get coverage, media release is actually the fastest and easiest way to get media coverage for your organization. It's free, okay, and if written well, it is attractive and it's a pitch onto itself. So what happens is when you write a press release and it gets sent to a news desk, the editor looks at the title, looks at the content, and then decides whether it is newsworthy enough to be covered. And if you do the writing well and well enough, and the editor picks up on it, then it's a guaranteed coverage spot. Sometimes it is even to the extent of it going on social media. So instead of looking at it from a traditional print, go for print kind of perspective, think of it as a news release being a sort of one-pager summary of everything you want to tell the public, and you can share it on social media. You can leave it on your website as an archiving purpose. So news releases, with that in mind, are also key tools in building brand reputation, in managing crises. It's a cost-effective way because it's free. Most of the time, news releases are written internally. We hardly get freelancers to write a news release unless you are a small organization or you are overwhelmed in terms of manpower, in terms of experience. You don't know how to handle the crisis, so you would hire a freelancer to come out. Freelancer rates for media relations is anywhere between 5 to 8,000, depending on how experienced you are. So there is actually money to be made in this field. Now, before let me finish up and then I'll show you some examples of news releases that are in practice today here in Malaysia. Okay, now when you send out a news release, most of the time you send out news releases when you have announcements, when you have breaking news, you're going to launch a new product, you're going to launch a partnership, a memorandum of understanding, you're going to launch a new event. Um, Maybe you're a pharmaceutical company and you discovered the vaccine for COVID-19 and you want to make an announcement. Okay, you want to share the research. You want to give out an award, or your CEO won the best award, or your company was awarded something by WHO or something like that. Okay. We also use news releases to make announcements about C-suite level individuals. C-suite here refers to your executives, your CEOs, your COOs, your CFOs. So your CEO would be your chief executive officer. Your CFO will be your chief finance officer. Your COO will be your chief operating officer. Your CTO will be your chief technical officer. So these individuals are what we call the C-suite level. And a lot of organizations, whenever there's a turnover in top management, there is almost always a press release being issued. And lastly, we use news releases for crisis management. Okay, when you have an instant, immediate announcement to make in related or in relations to a crisis. So I've got a couple of examples here. Let's begin with the one for EPF. So if you've been following the news, EPF had a COVID-19 incident. So if you go to, this is the website for EPF, the English version. Now, if you go to about EPF, almost every corporate website or any company website will have this section called News and Highlights or Press Office or News. So if you click there, you will see things like news highlights, references, publications, surveys, and polls. News releases and media statements will be parked under News and Highlights. And if you click there, okay, this is loading. You will see here notices, temporary closure of EPF branches, temporary closure of RAS counters, EPF confirms COVID-19 case. Now, this is a press release. The above three are what we call notices or media statements. Okay, this is a press release format. Okay, so this press release would have been issued, published on the website, shared with members of the public, okay, and also on social media. So editors would pick this up and they would write news articles based on the information here. So if you read about the COVID-19 member of EPF being confirmed infected with COVID-19, if you've read that news online, most of the information, if not all, would have come from this press release. Okay, another another place you can go to as an example would be any government office. So PMO is the Prime Minister's office. If you go to the White House, you would be able to see this. If you go to the website for the British monarchy, they also have this as well. So, sorry, here, all the media statements are housed under resources. So that's, oh, sorry, media center. I missed this out. We housed under media center. And if you look, you have news, interviews, you have media statements. So press releases will be parked under that. And this is in Malay. So these are your press releases basically. Kenyataan media, soal lazim, these are FAQs. Okay. This is your, so MKN, Kenyataan Media Perincian Perintah Kawalan Pergerakan. So this is related to the movement control order. So if you click, then you go in, it says that the National Security Council under the Prime Minister's office has explained this, that. Now, because this is a government agency and a government body in Malaysia, press releases are almost always issued in Malay. You can obtain the English translation, but you need to ask for it. This is actually in Malay. Okay, and then you can download the statements. So EPF 1 is here. You just need to copy and paste, and there's always a number for you to call. Now, in a corporate website, this is Nestle, for example. Nestle has it parked under media. So if we click to media, straightforward, it's press releases or events. So you just click on press releases and you will see that the topics are different. So it's things like Nestle records 5.5 billion ringgit turnover for 2019. So this is the annual report. This is the second one. Nestle and Starbucks launches Starbucks Premium Instant Coffee. So this is about partnership. Nestle partners Yayasan Food Bank Malaysia. Same. Nestle initiates impactful dialogue on nutrition in B40 community. So this is about a CSR project that they're running. Okay. Nestle establishes world's largest Milo factory in Negeri Sembilan. So this is about operations as well. So when you go to a corporate website, there are a multitude of things that people use news releases for. So if you see things like Q3 PAT up by 8%, this is financial information for stakeholders, people who hold shares. All right, this chance of a lifetime to win a salary for life is an initiative. So press releases are used for a variety of things, from crisis management like with EPF, to product launches, to improvements and whatnot. Now let's talk a bit about the structure. How do you get the perfect press release? You obviously need to have a headline, then you would have dates, then you have summary bullet points and your intro paragraph. So when you think of writing a release, it's pretty much like writing a news story, right? Let's take a pause now so that I can open up an example and show you how I used to write a press release.